those finer points. That's what the first couple of weeks are all about. So let's dive into all that we have for you this evening. We've got a ton of people to help us do it. And our game of the week features two teams that have become very familiar with one another. The last time Tascosa traveled to face Midland Legacy was back in 2021. The Rebels won narrowly 51-48 in an all-out brawl. Tonight, these former district rivals are back at it again at Astound Broadband Stadium. And who other than Aaron Galvin do we have here to help us catch us up on what happened and if this game was anything like the contest of past. Aaron?
Midland Legacy and Amarillo Tascosa. That's our game of the week for week 2 of Game Time. Only one of these teams would leave Astound Broadband Stadium with their perfect record intact and would leave 2-0. The first quarter and a half of this game was a complete energy drink, so strap in because we're about to show you those first half highlights. The Legacy High Rebels looking to improve to 2-0 and get revenge for last year's loss in the Panhandle. First quarter, and it's quarterback Marcos Davila with the perfect pass to Breck Stevens for the big gain to get Legacy going. That's why he is going to Purdue, folks. A few plays later, and it's Madden Malloy rumbling in for the score to make it 7-0 LHS. Rebels fumble here, though, on the miscommunication in a tie ball game, and it's Tascosa High's Jaden King with the scoop and the score to put his team in front. LHS had the momentum early, but now it's turned over to Tascosa. Rebs get the run game going in the second quarter, however, as Damian Johnson takes the handoff, makes a cut, shakes off a man. They're not going to get him into the end zone. Touchdown Legacy. LHS leads it 14-13. Later in the second, the third different running back for Legacy finds the end zone as Tommy Johnson strolls in, easy like Sunday morning. Midland Legacy leads it 21-13 as the running game turns the tide. Well, after a roller coaster of a first half, LHS settles in the second half. Stat of the night right here, the Rebels scored 8 touchdowns on the ground tonight. Their running game dominating in the final 2 quarters. 5 different players responsible for those 8 rushing touchdowns. Your final tonight, the Rebels take it 63-34 over the Amarillo Tascosa Rebels. LHS is 2-0 now. They get the revenge from last year's loss against Amarillo Tascosa. They looked dominant tonight when they wanted to, in the ground or through the air. Watch out for Clint Hartman's Legacy Rebels through the rest of the season. They get a big non-district win as we head into the final 3 weeks of non-district and into district play. That's going to do it from our game of the week here at Astound. Let's take things back to the studio.
All right, well, I feel like I've just drank an energy drink. Let's see if the energy continued over at Lubbock for Midland High's game against Coronado. And it would be the running attack that would be on full display. Tristan Love hands it off to Elijah McCoy. The back trots into the sunlight for the touchdown to capture the 14-13 lead in the second quarter. The ground game continued to attack. It's going to be another big run. Cornell Hunt gets the ball and rumbles all the way down the field into the red zone. The Bulldogs would score in a few plays after that. The defense came up huge in this contest, keeping the Mustangs tamed all night. The Bulldogs improved to 2-0 with the 48-13 win. All right, as weird as it sounds, Rattler Stadium was empty tonight as Permian took a trip east for a contest against Waco Midway. Mojo relied on the triple option on the ground tonight. Jacob Garcia would pitch the ball to Gage Murphy for a hefty gain here, and then a few plays later, Garcia would toss the ball to Isaac Herrera for the misdirect and the 7-0 lead. Midway does fire back with an answer. It would be Ty Brown and Warren Richardson that would link up for the deep pass to tie this game up, but no worries for Mojo fans. Permian wins 27-21 to get things back on track. And in case you missed it, Odessa High traveled to El Paso last night and secured its first win of the season against Americas. The Broncos were fighting off the Trailblazers' comeback attempt late in this contest, but it came down to the foot of Aldrich Rivera. The senior nailed the 37-yarder for the 22-20 walk-off victory. Midland Christian was challenged tonight against fourth-ranked Regents in its season opener. It did take the Mustangs a bit to dust off that week 1 bye rust, but down 7 in the first, MCS needed a boost, and there it is. Avery Morgan swarms in for the big INT, but the very next play, oh no! The Knights return the favor, but do a little bit more with it. Go up 14-0. Now the pressure back on the offense. Colton Newsom and Keller Withers link up for the massive gain. Stangs scored a few plays later, down 20-9. Newsom finds Briley Perez in the flat. The former Midland High Bulldog running back scores his first touchdown as a member of Midland Christian, but it looks like the Mustangs couldn't complete the comeback. They would lose 42-23. All right, coming up next on Game Time, we'll bring the rest of our Game Time crew in. Tyler Dupnick joins us out in Andrews, and Jason Freund is out in Fort Stockton.
We're the Midland High Bulldogs, and you're watching Game Time on News West 9. OYB.
Mic check 1 2 3. Tyler, mic check 1 2 3. Tyler, mic check 1 2.
It's Jason's mic check 1 2 3. 1 2 3.
All right, welcome back to Game Time week number 2. It's time to see which Basin teams battled it out on the gridiron tonight against another area foe. Andrews and Monahans are very familiar opponents. This is another iteration of that classic clash tonight. This contest wasn't close a year ago in favor of the Mustangs. Tyler Dupnick is out in Andrews to tell us more about how this round played out.
Yeah, Jenna, it was a cross-basin battle tonight between Monahans and Andrews, and we had some explosive plays right from the jump tonight here in the Mustang Bowl. Now, the Mustangs sprinted out to an early lead, but the Lobos came roaring back in the first half. The Mustang Bowl was the site for a Friday night fight between the 1-0 Lobos from Monahans and the also 1-0 hometown Andrews Mustangs. Monahans will get going early with the ground game, and it's Cole Pittman right up the gut untouched for the score. Now Andrews would answer on their opening drive. Perfect blocking on the outside, and Jay-Sean DeBoos is loose. 45 yards for the touchdown to tie the game at 7. An electric first quarter was just underway. Back to the ground go the Mustangs. DeBoos looks bottled up, but he gets away. Blockers in front, and it's another 45-yard touchdown. Now Monahans in need of an answer, and their quarterback would deliver. Chino Navarrete. They're never going to catch him. 49 yards to even the score at 14. Now into the second quarter, Navarrete with his legs again makes a man miss. One blocker will clear the way, and it's a 27-yard touchdown run for Chino Navarrete. And after a late turnover by Andrews, why not use number 8 one more time? Navarrete, his third rushing touchdown in the first half, and his 28-14 Lobos. Here with senior quarterback Chino Navarrete for Monahans. And Chino, you guys scored 48 points last week. You scored 49 points tonight. How dangerous can this offense really be?
We could be really dangerous, but we got a lot of work to put in because we still made a lot of mistakes. And like you said, the first half was slow, but I think second half we kind of picked it up, and I'm grateful that we could do so much with all the skill guys we have.
Final score tonight from the Mustang Bowl, 49-27 as Monahans outscores Andrews 42-13 after that early deficit to start the season 2-0. As you heard from quarterback Chino Navarrete, this offense is scary. They have talent all over the place. Even though it felt like they made some mistakes in the first half, they still obviously scored 4 touchdowns. He also gave a ton of credit to the offensive line during that interview. That full interview will be on our Gametime tab on newswest9.com later this evening, so if you want to check that out. I asked Chino Navarrete about the playoff run last year and how it's helped them this year. Jenny, he gave me a great answer, so folks need to check that out.
You're going to want to check out everything we have on that Gametime tab on our website. And Fort Stockton hosted the new look Alpine team tonight. Another standard early regular season game. Last time the Panthers were shut out the Bucks with a 27-0 defensive effort. Let's check in with Jason Freud and see how this one shook out and if it was any different than the last contest.
Well, thank you very much, Jenna. This game may not have been for the fans of the high-flying offense. Instead, this chess match was determined by hard-nosed, smash-mouth football with all-star levels of defense. However, the running game did take advantage quite a little bit, but there was still a little bit of offense for everyone who was interested in that, as evidenced by these first-half highlights. Fans of defensive struggles are going to like this one as the Alpine Bucks look to even up their record against the Fort Stockton Panthers. After a failed fourth down conversion by Alpine, Fort Stockton's going to hand it off. That's Corbin Luna with the 1-yard touchdown rush. Fort Stockton would fail the 2-point conversion, though. It's going to be 6-0 Panthers. Alpine trying to crack the scoreboard. Ball's hand off to Logan Smith, who hits the hole and finds pay dirt, makes it a 7-6 game. But this half was dominated by defense. Marco Garcia trying to make a play happen, dumps it off to Gama Corral, who is taken down by a swarm of Bucks. And it may not be working with the pass, but Garcia's going to try and make something happen anyway. Scrambles to his right, but he's met by a line of Bucks, reverses himself and bolts across the field, finds a little bit of daylight, and he's going to be pushed out of bounds after a 30-yard gain. Now that would set up a quick pass in the red zone. Garcia is going to sling it off to receiver Gary Diaz for the short touchdown. Fort Stockton's going to lead 13-7 at the half. All right, you were obviously a big part of today's game. A lot of running in today's game. What were you seeing every time you got handed the rock?
That's my got handed the rock. All I could see was just my lineman, big, huge lineman, just running over kids. You know, I just used that from there and just bounced it outside and it was gone.
Now, after the second half, it was clear that Fort Stockton and head coach Jerry Hickman, they made some adjustments after they came out of the locker room in the second half, because once they came out onto the field and hit the field, they picked up a couple more touchdowns en route to a 27-7 victory for the Fort Stockton Panthers. Meanwhile, the Alpine Bucks are going to have to pick themselves up after this one as they fall to 0-2 in the season. But make sure you keep it right here on Newswest 9 for all things Gametime and all things Permian Basin High School football. Tell us some more about it, Jenna.
Hey, thanks, Jason. Coming up next, we got more highlights for you from matchups all across the base. We're going to head over to Midland County for action in Greenwood.
We're the Monahans Lobos, and you're watching Game Time on News West 9. Go Lobos!
Welcome back to week 2 of Game Time. Let's jump right into what we have for you tonight. All right, Greenwood was home for the first time this season under new head coach Brian Hale, hosting West Plains. The Rangers fell in its opener and looked to flip the script here at home to even out to 1-1. The home team got off to an impressive start. Lincoln Madrid winds up and launches an absolute bomb down the field to Cade Rowalt for the score to go up 7-0. And then the Wolves would march down the field, and it would be all visitors in this game because that was the pattern. West Plains would win 59-14. And you're going to want to stick with us because we have top plays coming up next. All right, now that we've closed out the highlights portion of our show, coming up next, it's time to look back at the best of the best. Here it is. All right, jumping back to last night in Reagan County, Kason Brown works some magic evading tackles, somehow tosses it to A.J. Avalos for the long touchdown, trotting his way to the end zone. How did he get that one off? We still don't know. Staying on Thursday Night Football, Mikey Cota and Ivan Carrion strengthening that connection. Cota chucks this one to Carrion, and he uses his size for the TD. And then back on the ground, out in Andrews, Jayshawn DeBose almost wrapped up, but not for long. The back escapes for a 45-yard score. And finally, a little bit more sprinkle of magic. This somehow gets in the hands of Gage Murphy. All right, that's all that we have tonight on Game Time. See you next week.